Good morning. Here at it again this morning. Gotta go check in with the sex offender registry. I'm downtown, just waking up, and excuse me. Yeah, it'll be all right. So it's Monday, May 7th. I have to go check in with the sex offender registry. They have me on a once a month. Since I am tentative. Tentative means you are homeless or don't have a place to stay. I am in the process of finding me a place where I can actually call home, put my name on it, a place where I will not be kicked out for living where I'm at, somewhere that's safe. And like I say, I'm downtown. You got a lot of homeless people down here, and you would be amazed at how many of these homeless people downtown Houston are homeless, not only because they are on drugs, but because they are on the sex offender registry list. So I'm gonna go ahead and catch this bus actually and check in and get this over with. I hate having to go down to this registration office. Yeah, just to even say sex offender out loud or registration or registry, it's could be hurtful, especially when I know I shouldn't be on a sex offender registry at all, period, but yet I'm on here. Gotta wait on the train. Normally, when I leave from downtown to go to the registration office, it may take me about an hour and a half traveling by bus to get to the registration office. So, I hate having to go through this. I hate having to go to the sex offender registry office. I hate having to check in. I hate being labeled as a sex offender from a case from when I was 17 years old. That should not be.
If you see something, say something by reporting any.
But it is, so only thing I can do is follow the rules.
911. Thank you for riding Metro. Atención pasajeros de Metro Rail.
The rules and the laws were not designed to benefit people like me. They were designed to break and dominate and tear people apart from one another.
Please stand back from the platform.
Rules and laws were meant to conquer some and keep others on top. I get it. And here's my train.
Por favor, quédese detrás del borde de la plataforma. Attention Metro Rail riders. Next station, siguiente estación, Innocence. reporting any abandoned items or suspicious activity, call 783-224-2677 or 911. Thank you for riding Metro. Atención pasajeros de Metro Rail.
We are almost there. Well, not almost. We still got a ways to go. But this is so humiliating, so embarrassing, and I can remember at one point going through the mental problems of being a falsely accused sex offender, where it used to like bring thoughts to my mind to where I used to contemplate all kind of things. I was just so angry because of how your life, how anybody's life could be so miserable just walking the life of a sex offender. So I was in a mental place where I was totally unstable. I was angry at the world. I even find myself now still a lot frustrated at times. I handle my situation a lot better than what I used to. But I still have my moments where I do have my down moments. Like, for example, when I was just kicked out of school for being a sex offender. I mean, this case took place literally when I was 17 years old. And I still feel the effects of the case right now today. And I'll be 37 in a few weeks. It's like, why am I still going through this? Why am I still on a sex offender registry list? I can't believe they kicked me out of school for this. And I can't believe I lost my internship at the courthouse behind a case that took place when I was 17 years old. That was no case because no crime occurred. I just signed a plea deal because I didn't know any better. And I was by myself. And I figured this was the best way out. The best way for me to go so I can avoid 15 years in prison. But find out I signed a death sentence, a life sentence. The sentence I signed, I don't think it's ever gonna let me go. But I won't stop fighting. It seemed like when I was kicked out of the courthouse and I lost my internship for being on a sex offender registry, it was the perfect opportunity for the judge to stand up for me and tell everyone as to why I should be allowed to work in the courthouse as an internship. But instead of standing up for me and the platform the judges ran on, she stepped away, turned her back, and disassociated herself with me. But when one door closed, another one opened. About to get on the last bus to the final destination. It's a beautiful day out here, and I had to use this beautiful day sitting down at the sex offender registry office. But gotta do what I gotta do, huh? So I just got off the bus on the corner of Belfort and McCawa, and I have to walk about maybe 3/4 of a mile in order to get to the McCawa office. The McCawa office is where all of the sex offenders in Harris County register. It used to be I believe a misdemeanor jail, but they closed it down and they use it now for traffic court and the sex offender registry check-in. Now I have a new sex offender registry officer because I am tentative, so they switched me to someone new. I don't know who I'm going to see today, but today is my appointment day. I don't know if they are going to be nice, friendly, don't care, rude and mean. I have no idea. It's the first time I'm meeting my new officer. Hopefully soon I will find a place to stay, but I have to be very careful when I find a place to live because of all the laws. Here's a place right here on the corner. And I most certainly wouldn't want to live in because it's too close to the sex offender registry office. But when you are looking for a place to stay as a sex offender, you have to you gotta look real good. Most places, if it's a house, most homeowners association, they would deny you for having a sex offense case. If you are looking for an apartment, I don't know of any apartment office. I don't know any apartment building that house sex offenders. Not one. It may be some around. I've never found any. I know I got kicked out of a lot of apartments and places because I started at one point not disclosing my case because I needed somewhere desperately to live, and I didn't know how to get a place to live without withholding that information at one point. So I would withhold the information and hope that they didn't find out, but it never failed. Every time almost they found out, and I always got kicked out. So now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do and where I'm gonna live because I do not have time to be coming down here every 30 days to register as a sex offender because I don't have a place to live. So it's time consuming. It already take me like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to travel down here by transit. Then I have to walk about 15 minutes. And then when I get there, I may be in the office literally about, for sure, over an hour. It all depends on the officer and what they feel like doing, when they feel like doing it, and how fast they want to work. But they most certainly work on their own pace. My last officer, he was pretty good. Actually one of the best officers I ever had. Maybe a little bit more understanding too than any other officer. But I also believe he researched me, and I believe that he looked me up. And I think that may have played a part or role in the way he particularly treated me as an individual. Hopefully I can go back to my old officer, but that wouldn't even be an option on getting that officer back until I find me a place to stay. So as long as I'm tentative, I'm gonna have a tentative officer, and hopefully they are just as understanding as my last officer, because I don't want to go back to jail, especially not behind this. So when you talk about humiliation, this is the ultimate humiliation. If you want to humiliate somebody, put them on the sex offender registry list. Like, some people, like, if you deserve to be on this list, then so be it. But everybody don't deserve to be on the sex offender registry list. Like, people who catch public lewdness charges, for example. I mean, if you got caught having sex in your car, I mean, most people probably had car sex before. They just didn't get caught. But if you get caught, then you will go on the sex offender registry list for having car sex. And I don't think a lot of people know that. How's it going? All right.
Have a good day, man.
Yes, it is.
Free.
That's right. So, everyone certainly don't deserve to be on the sex offender registry list. People that get caught urinating outside, they will charge you for public lewdness, and they will place you on a sex offender registry list. People having sex underage and have an angry parent party mad at one of the kids, you get placed on a sex offender registry list, especially if you are black, brown, yellow, or have any type of color on you that is not the same. I'm gonna keep that comment to myself, but the sex offender registry is not for everyone. Everyone shouldn't be on here. If you really want to humiliate somebody, put them on the sex offender registry list, and that is the ultimate humiliation. This is so humiliating to have to come down here and report as a sex offender. I mean, like, this is the ultimate embarrassment. Texas want me to register as a sex offender for the rest of my life. What's going on now? All right. That's right. Huh? Son? Here I am about to have to go through the metal detector, and I'm gonna go sign in, sit in the lobby and wait on my officer to call me. So hopefully there's no secret warrants on my name. They got me like that before. Couldn't believe it. I didn't even know I had any warrants, and checking in and arrest you right in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera off, go through the metal detector, and go ahead and get the check-in done and over with. It appears that they just went on lunch, so I'll probably be sitting here additional hour on top of whatever I'll be, whatever hour it's gonna take them to take care of me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for a place. I should have a place soon. And as soon as I get everything situated, I'll be back up here. Thank you, sir. Whew. Just sat in that place literally for about 2 hours. It took them about an hour and 45 minutes just to get to me. And once they finally got to me, I was out in like 15 minutes. And you know, every time I have to come here and register as a sex offender, or you know, just anytime I get in trouble behind the sex offense, I always used to think, like, what if I never would have signed the plea deal and accepted the probation for 4 years, the 6 months ankle monitor, and didn't accept the 10 years to register as a sex offender? What if I never would have signed the plea deal? I used to say, if I didn't sign that plea deal, you know, as I got older, I used to say this. I used to say, if I didn't sign that plea deal, you know, if I would have never signed that plea deal when I was 17, there was no way a court would have ever convicted me as a sex offender. That's what I used to think. I look at all the facts. I'm like, I was 17. She was 16. I signed a deal for statutory. We're a year and 4 months apart. We never had sex, ever, in life. Her mom was tripping. She snuck out the house. And I think about all the facts. And I say, if I never have signed a plea deal, there is no way any judge or any jury will convict me of any crime. But since I signed a deal, it put me in a binding contract. That's what I used to say. And, you know, every year that went past my 10 years of registration, it frustrated me because I always felt that I put myself in this position for signing the plea deal when I shouldn't have signed the plea deal. But I signed the plea deal because I didn't want 15 years in prison, and I didn't know anything else to do because I didn't have anybody in the courtroom with me to tell me, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I didn't have anybody to tell me that. So I signed the plea deal. And every year that go past the 10 years of me registering, it really ticks me off. Because I signed a plea deal to register, and I was told I would only have to do it for 10 years. This is what my lawyer told me when I was 17. I remember it vividly. He said, you would only have to register for 10 years. And here it is, I'm going on year 20, and I'm still registering as a sex offender. And it's absurd. So, you know, I always go back, and I always think of the deal that I signed, and I say, wow, I put myself in this position. Maybe I should not have signed the deal, you know, because there's no way anybody would have convicted me of a sex offense. But then, now, just recently, I'm rethinking the whole thing, right? And maybe I made the best decision. Because when I look around, you know, I'm watching guys, like, literally go to prison for 12 and 15 years for kissing white women. A guy literally just got 12 years for partying with a white woman in the club. She was 17, in the club, underage. He was 20. They have a 3-year age gap. They were kissing. She left the club, went to his house. They were college students. Well, he was a college student. and they was kissing. No sex occurred. And yet, this young man has 12 years in prison. And then you have, like, cases where I've seen, like, I'm sorry, these cars is blowing dust in my face. But, I mean, it's just so many cases that you have young people hanging out with one another, and ultimately one of the parties end up getting a sex offense because they say touching was involved, or somebody had sex and they was a minor, they wasn't supposed to, or somebody scream rape. But when you look at the evidence, like the young man that like literally just got the 12 years, there's no way he should have got those 12 years, because she was in the club underage. She the one that was in there drinking and partying. She was in there freaking him just like he was freaking her. She went to his place and she was having a good time with him, and her parents got mad, and I'm assuming that she said he raped her so she didn't get in trouble by her parents. But I mean, even when you just like look at the case as a whole, when you look at the video camera with them, the videotape of them in the club, they was having a good old time. Nothing happened out of line. When you check the street cam, it showed them walking from the club to his place, which is right down the street. And it showed that they was only in his apartment for 5 minutes before coming back out together and still having fun with one another. So they wasn't in there long enough to do anything, but yet he got 12 years in prison. And he's not the only case. So I sit back and I say, wow, if I didn't sign that plea deal. So I sit back and I rethink and I say, if I didn't sign that plea deal, and if I would have took this to court, trial rather, and if I would have kept telling them what literally happened that day, which was nothing happened, if I would have stuck to my story and kept telling them what I've been telling them since the beginning, that nothing happened out of line and we were just hanging out and having fun, literally, if I would have kept telling them that, would I have been the guy just like this other young man that got 15 years instead of 12 years for statutory? My sentence could have been a lot longer if I didn't sign this plea deal. It's a possibility I could have took my case to trial at the age of 17 and lost. It's a possibility I could have took my case to trial when I was 17 and got 15 years in prison. And if I would have got 15 years in prison, I would have came home to nothing. I would have came home in a terrible situation. I wouldn't be nowhere close to where I'm at right now today if I would have been incarcerated for 15 years. I literally would almost just be getting out. I would be so behind on technology. I wouldn't know how to use smartphones maybe, or the internet, or I probably wouldn't know how to type, and I wouldn't have any schooling under my belt except my high school. I wouldn't even have finished high school if I would have lost, if I didn't sign that plea deal. It's a possibility I may not even have a high school diploma right now. But I do. So either way I look at it, I was in a lose-lose bad situation as a black man in America. It was either you sign this plea deal and you do not go away for 15 years in prison. You sign this plea deal, we're not gonna send you to prison for 15 years, but we're gonna hit you with some sanctions and you just stay in line and everything will be all right. We'll let you go after 10 years. Now here we go, year number 20, and I'm still in the same situation I was in 20 years ago, behind a case I should not have been in, or maybe I should have. Maybe everything that's happening to me right now is bigger than me. Maybe I was the one that was chosen to fix things for people who have no clue how to fight the system, and right now I don't know how to fight the system. I'm struggling fighting the system, but maybe, you know, certain things that I have destined in my life that I don't know about, maybe it's for a purpose that I have no clue about. I know we don't know what our tomorrows look like. I know we have no idea where we're gonna be or what's in store for us tomorrow. But is it predestined? Maybe. Maybe not. But I do believe that I was chosen to do a job that I just don't quite understand yet as to how I was chosen or why I was chosen, or I don't even know if what I'm saying is real. Maybe what's happening to me is because this is just life. But maybe I'm just a chosen warrior to fight for God's people that's stuck in bondage, that need a hand up. And maybe that hand up is gonna come from me. So, like I say, my case may never be expunged, sealed. My case may never leave me alone. My case probably will follow me till my grave and keep haunting me, keep tormenting me. My case will probably keep humiliating me for the rest of my life. But it will not stop me from fighting for everybody else from walking through the same exact door that I walked through with no support. One day, I will be big enough that I will be able to help people and be a support system for people who have no support system when they dealing with the court systems with cases like mine, or probably just cases in general. But I'm happy that this is over with. I am done for today with my registration, and my next registration registration date is going to be, let's see, I think it's June 6th. Yep, it's June 6th at 11 o'clock in the morning. So 30 more days, I'll have to do what I just done today. And that's spend about an hour and a half on the bus. Walk about 20 minutes. Sit in the lobby, wait on the people. I gotta do this every 30 days until I find me a place, so. Back on the train, 30 more days and